So you want to create modules for Genesys Foundry, and you just picked up Affinity Publisher. It's a bit confusing at first if you are new to print design like I am, but let's walk through it. So first things first, here are some resources you'll want to pick up. From some through DriveThruRPG, some through Scott Zumwalt, so I probably messed that up, Dropbox. I'll go ahead and post those in the description as well. The next thing you'll want to do is install the necessary fonts. After you've got the files unzipped, you'll want to go to the Affinity Publisher, CRB, fonts, and install all these fonts, but we're going to leave Genesys, Glyphs, and Dice out for the moment. Instead, we want to install the Dice and Glyphs from the FFG Genesys Glyphs and Dice Master. Install those two fonts and you should be good. Now that we got that out of the way, we can go ahead and run Affinity Publisher. Now the first thing we want to do when we get in is we want to open up Scott's CRB style guide as a reference. And we'll just keep that in the back as a separate document for reference. I also like to keep a separate copy of it open in PDF on the screen. Now we can begin creating our new document. We'll go ahead and set it for print. I want to go ahead, I like doing the letter. Definitely want our document units as millimeters. DPI of 144 is fine. Color, we should switch to CYMK8. US web coded. For PDF, it'll automatically convert to RGB. Now for the margins, we want them to be 21 millimeters on the inside, 33 on the outside, 18 on the top, 30 on the bottom, and I'll go into more detail on that in a minute. And we want to set our bleed to 3 millimeters. Now, the first concept you need to be aware of is master pages. They allow you to set up master templates that you can apply to 2-page spreads throughout your work. So now we're going to add several more pages. We're looking for about 8 pages total. Let's add 7 more pages after, and then you can specify a specific template. We're not going to at the moment. Okay, so we have page 1, 2, 3 as a spread, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now some of the information that you're looking at here, this white area is the area that will be printed or displayed. This blue area is the margins that you've created. This gray line on the outside is the bleed. The next thing you want to do is you want to set up your master. So you go over to your master, double click on it. As you can see, got a bleed already set for a 2-page spread. The margins. The inside is skinnier than the outside. There's a good reason for it. I'll go over in just a moment. Next thing you want to do is add the standard page background for a 2-page spread. Do that using the Place Image tool. And open it up. You're looking at Genesys Foundry, Assets, Links PNG version. Grab Genesys background.png. Place it in your document, and it's going to be much larger, so you want to zoom out. For that, grab it and shrink it to fit as close as you can your document. Zoom back in. It's okay if we go over the bleed a little bit. Make sure you have the top balanced. There you go. Here's why the margins were set. The cleared out white space lines up perfect with these margin boxes. Next thing we want to do is we want to apply the master template to the other pages. Pages. Slide. Now we can go ahead and add ourselves a cover. We go back to page 1. And we want to remove the formatting, so we want to clear master from applying to page 1. Since we don't need margins on the cover, we can go ahead and clear those away as well. Print setup, tab, uncheck, include margin. Right, now we want to find an appropriate image for the cover. Go ahead and bring it into the lead, and then stretch it out proportionally to fill the best. I want it to match wide to wide, and the top and bottom can stretch off the document. I'm fine with that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little. Balance center-wise vertically. That looks good there. And we have our cover image. I'm going to bring it just a hair because I want that as possible on the image. And scarlet done, and I want. Now we'll go ahead and add some text to the cover using the text frame tool. Go ahead and make it nice and big. We'll clean that up in a minute. Already set the font to Hauser, bold and italic, 56 point. And that will allow Real American Heroes to stretch out. I'm going to shrink up, however, this section. Use Zumwalt. Go ahead and trim this up. And then we'll add one more text area to the bottom. Down, center it. And I think that. Next, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of actually using the Genesys formatting. Go to pages 2 and 3. We're going to start with the credits section. We do our setup using what's known as styles, character styles, and paragraph styles. I will put a text area across the top and put credits. First thing we do is we set our font to stop. The font we want to use is Debes Douai. Take off decoration. And we want to set our color, the light blue, 0, 2, it will be bolded, and let's go ahead and center that. And the font size is going to be 30 points. Perfect. Here. That looks good to me. So now that we have this set up, we want to go ahead and save this style so we can easily apply it to other areas. So we go to character style area, new style, we'll give it a name, Genesys heading 0. Now with that, I can go ahead and create another text area here. I want it to sync up across with the other one. Go ahead and label content. Center it. Set the style. Genesys heading 0. There we go. Next, we want to create guides for 2 text columns and make sure that it gets applied to all the spread pages. To do that, go to the master, double click on it, view, guides manager. Inside there, set our columns to 2. According to the style guide, we want 4 millimeters between, which would be the gutter. Now if we go to our credits and content page, see our guides displayed there. Now that we have our guides, we can go ahead and create some text columns. There, here. And I'm not doing this in the master because different pages, I can split this up into different sections. Now here's the fun part. Filling out the table of contents, you'll naturally want it to flow down, and then when full, fill up the next area. So we'll go ahead and insert some filler text. And to make it fill up into the next one, click this little arrow to the side here once, then you click the next text frame that you want it to link to. Little arrow, and now it's filling up that area. With the filler text and image. Now we'll move on to some actual content pages. Now with your content, your design might vary a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and go with the one I like. Set up a area that goes on the top. Fill out some text and I'll format it later. And I'm going to go ahead and put in an image. And let's go ahead and get some of the text filled in for that. Now here's a neat little guy right here. If you see this red eye with a slash through it, that means you have text overflowing your frame, and you'll want to take care of that before you export. Now let's go ahead and start the formatting. With the heading 0, you'll want to adjust every character after the first 80% width and height. Like so. This next section, go ahead and clear style out. Next, I'm going to turn warrant officer into a heading 4. Heading 4, shape us new way. It's 13 points. single underline. I want to go ahead. Actually, before I do that, I want to save this style. It is always caps. Center that. Style. Paragraph. And that'll be the standard, but I'm going to shrink that a bit in these areas. Back up here, I actually want to bring warrant officer down a little bit, so the next thing I want to do is use the shape tool to create a rounded rectangle. Color, turn RGB sliders, 34, 6. Now the color is going to look slightly off. That's because of the highlighting from the guide. In the final output, it'll look just fine. What you want to do is send it to the back. Oop, too far back. Text tool. Next, we want to square off these corners. First thing we do is we highlight it, switch to node, layer, convert to curves. We have these new boxes on the corners. We want to keep this curve here. These curves we want to manipulate. First thing I like to do is zoom in as close as possible. So we'll go ahead and select that angle there, and we want to slide the x-axis as much as possible without this area overstepping the line. Let's go ahead and set the y to an even number here. Go ahead and set the y on its opposite partner over here, so it's planted. Now we grab this corner. The x is already in here, so we slide the y up. Now having a little bit on the top. That could be perfectly square. I haven't figured that out yet, but it's close enough. If I can find better, that's about as good as we're. There we go. Another thing I want to do before I forget about it, I want to come up here and this. Next up, let's create a new style. This guy right here. Okay, we'll go over to the CRP style guide. Now there's two different ones I've got. I want to make sure I get the one that's 2-page. Copy that here. So it fills up. Just fill out the numbers as necessary. Bring this up. Next, we'll go ahead and fill out his skills, talents, etc. Got all this text copied, so paste in this black area here. Genesys text. Paste all that. Make sure this is flowing text and not counting as paragraphs. Next up, we'll want to go ahead and do the dice. We'll start with proficiency dice. Here, outline style 0.7. Proficiency dice and update. So let's say I should be able to come here. Yell. Proficiency dice. Bam. Supply that to all the dice. Great, and then we'll go ahead and do similar for the ability dice. Now finally, we need to set up some setback. And there we have it, and you can repeat for the other. Next, we want to turn the equipment into a properly bulleted list. Now here's the tricky part to get the bullets on. Go to an unused section, new style, you have that set. Go ahead and do the bullets and numbering area and change the style. Genesys bullet orange. Applies. Make sure you have all of them highlighted. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out and take a look at it. That looks good to me. In a future episode, I will do tables, but for now, let's add a classy back cover. Good to me. Save it. And now the important part, exporting. Export it, PDF, and you want to make sure the area is set to all pages. If you set it to spread, it'll show a 2-page spread side by side when you want individual pages. Now, this is a good thing here. Estimated file size 4.74. The reason for that is good is when you add the images in, especially the background pages, you want to make sure that they are linked images, so only a single copy of that image is saved in the file and everything else is just markup to that. And there we have it.